Hello, hello.
Hello. I need to go to this
Welcome.
scene. Hi. So, this is Celeste, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
Celeste.
yeah. This is Celeste from Bunopolis. They uh, wanted to interview me for um, Pride Month. I
Yeah, I'm very excited.
so I am Bloom. I'm a cozy VTuber. I do MMO content, I do art content, TCG stuff. I'm basically just a nerd, and I like having a cozy channel. So what do you do?
I guess I am the event coordinator for Bunopolis, so I'm in charge of hosting a lot of the bunny events that we hold for the group. Bunopolis is a bunny themed VTuber group,
Hmm, hmm.
or guild, we like to call it.
Yeah.
Um, on my own time, though, I do a lot of art streams, a lot of like RPG streams because I love RPGs.
Hmm.
Stuff like that.
Nice. Okay. So, did you want to start?
Yeah. Our first question today is, well, you already gave us your name and your channel, but
Yeah.
give us your pronouns and where you fall under the umbrella for the LGBTQ plus community.
So my pronouns are he, they, and I also like using the neo pronoun bun. That's bun, self, that kind of thing. Um, that's fairly new to me. uh,
Hmm.
and I am pan, trans, masculine, and poly. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it anyway.
Hmm.
It's so hard with
Oh,
labels nowadays.
very true. Speaking about labels, what does that label mean to you?
So pan to me basically means that gender does not come into play like at all whenever I am looking for a partner to love. It does not um it does not really it doesn't matter to me. Like it just doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And then poly, I have been poly most of my life actually. I started being in poly relationships whenever I was in high school, and I'm an unk now, as the kids say. So, um, uh, poly just basically means that as long as, well, for me, it's different for everyone. I do what they call kitchen table poly, um, where I like everyone to be friends with each other, that is like in the dynamic in that little circle. Um, but that doesn't mean that everybody is dating each other.
Hmm.
And then transmasculine, that's pretty, you know, cut and dry. Um,
Yeah.
I have been
Um.
I've been trans most of my life. The earliest I remember questioning my gender, I was probably 8. So it was
Oh wow.
early. Yeah.
Hmm. Our next question is,
Hmm.
how has being a member of the community affected your life, if you're willing to share?
Um it was positive most of my life up until fairly recently. I won't get super into it. Like I'm a trans man living in the South. I think you can
Hmm.
understand.
Yeah.
um but I just I feel like having a community behind you, knowing that you're not alone in the things that you're feeling, it helps. It does.
Hmm.
It helps you feel like you're not
Um.
crazy because we all do a little bit of gaslighting of ourselves.
Hmm. How has your journey been since you learned you're a part of the community?
um, well, I came from a household where they weren't like against it, but they weren't for it either. They kind of wished that I wasn't. You understand? Yeah. They just kind
Yeah.
of wished it would go
Same.
away.
Hmm.
They just kind of wished it would go away. And that was kind of my journey up until about 3 years ago. Oh, I lost tracking there for a second. Sorry.
Okay,
um,
all good.
uh, up a few years ago, I just kind of woke up one day and was like, I'm tired of living a lie. I'm tired of living as, you know, female when I don't feel like I am. So
Hmm.
I reached out to, um, I actually reached out to my current church. They have a program where they help trans people get their name changes. They're so cool.
Oh, wow. That
Yeah,
is so awesome,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of a church doing
You're
that.
right. Yeah, no, and they didn't pressure me into anything. They were just like, nope, we're just here to help you. Um, you don't even need to like come visit us or anything. They have a uh rainbow closet too. It's so cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such a nice. I imagine it feels very very safe space there.
Yes. I haven't been there very much recently just because uh even before everything my church was kind of targeted by people who don't understand. And I think that's a lot
Hmm.
of what we see nowadays is people who just don't take the time to understand.
Hmm. Wow, that's very very unique, very cool.
Yeah.
Um, did you come out to your loved ones, and if so, how did that affect like relationship?
um so I have come out a few times in my life. Um I feel like every time that I unearth a sector of my like personal dynamic, I have to come out again.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people have to deal with is just oh god, I have to do it again. um,
Hmm.
uh, I came out as um, queer first. Um, that was when I was in high school. I came out to my friends and my parents. Um, and then I came out as trans after I had graduated high school, like shortly after. Um, that didn't go over as well.
Oh no.
But it's okay. It is what it is. It's not okay, but like, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's like you kind of have to understand that you can only change so much.
Hmm. Yeah, I can only imagine how
Yeah.
stressful that can be.
Yeah, because I grew up in rural Ohio, so yeah. That
Hmm.
was.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky to live in a blue state, but
right.
the town I live in is a
Hmm.
small town
Right.
that is heavily the opposite. Like, ugh,
Hmm.
just my luck to grow up in the town.
Right.
That, the one town in the state that's like, no, we don't do that here.
Hmm.
Next question. What are some of your favorite moments in your life relating to Pride?
Oh gosh. So one of the things that I really like to do is I like to mentor kids. I've been doing that since I was in high school. I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters, whatever you call it. Um
Oh,
yeah. So I really like mentoring people. Unfortunately, I don't do that anymore. It's not safe to do that anymore for both sides of the equation, so I don't. Um,
Mm.
but when I was a, a little bit about my life before I was a VTuber, I was a cosplay model. Um, and so a lot of
Oh,
what I
cool.
did was like outreach to make people feel like they weren't alone, do like plus size and queer type of support stuff. Yeah, that I think that's probably like my favorite memories is just how a single conversation can change somebody's life. You don't know what
Mm.
people are going through. Uh, you don't know, um, like what they may be repressing, and they are just dying to get out. You know.
Mm.
And I like to be that. I like to be that ear for people.
Very cool. That like that whole thing. It reminds me of because I used to be a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of oh, I feel like a lot of our like biggest issues with understanding and stuff with kids, especially, is them being so afraid and
Right.
bottling it up for
Right.
so long until they just pop, and it's really
Yeah.
bad.
I
So yeah.
I can relate to that. I am neurodivergent of some sort, some flavor of
Mm.
neurodivergent. um, it's so hard as an AFAB person in the U.S. to get diagnosed with anything, but that's a completely different story. um, so, I totally get, feeling like you have to repress everything, feeling like you have to stay in the closet, feeling like you have to, perform as what is on your birth certificate. And
Mm.
it's not fair. It's not fair to yourself. Um, I feel like for a lot of people, one day you end up uh, looking at yourself and going, is this worth it? Is this
Mm.
is it worth it to continue performing, to have this mask? Um and it's okay if the answer is no, I don't want to perform with this mask anymore. And then you gotta ask yourself, is it safe for me to come out? What would happen if I came out? Would I be safe? Would I still have housing? Would I still have love? Would I still have friends? And if the
Mm.
answer is yes to all of those, then I feel like you should. You should be true to yourself.
Yeah. Very, very true. If you're willing to share, were there any
Hmm.
moments in your pride journey that were rougher on you?
Oh gosh. Um, yeah. Uh, I grew up not knowing that trans was even a thing. I was pretty sheltered. Um, so having these feelings of not being in the right body, not knowing why you're feeling dysphoria. Because even though I didn't know that trans was a thing, I was still feeling dysphoria. You still feel all of it. Um,
Mm.
it doesn't go away just because you're not aware it's a thing. Um, and I guess it's hard coming to terms with I am not sick. I there's nothing wrong with me. This is just a thing I have to deal with. These are the cards I'm dealt. Where do we go from here?
Mm.
Social acceptance was also a big thing for me growing up. I was always brought up as everyone is watching. I feel like that's a big thing that parents from generations prior instilled in their kids is everyone is watching, everyone is judging, so behave. Um, and there was a part of me when I first came out as trans is, am I not behaving? Am I making a scene? Am I drawing too much attention to myself? And I still struggle with those feelings sometimes. They don't go away, but they do become easier to deal with.
Mm, very, very, very true. I feel like a lot of people in the community, especially
Mm-hmm.
our trans friends,
Right.
struggle a lot with that. How has being a part of this community affected your streaming?
Um, it's interesting. So in VTubing, there's kind of a trope where it is it doesn't make this true. It's this is just a trope. That it
Mm,
is easier as an AFAB person to um, become a streamer. And because I don't have a masculine presenting voice, and I'm saying that about myself, that is not something that anybody else has said, I'm saying that about myself. um,
mm,
I feel like the journey as a VTuber has been easier, and I don't feel like that's fair. I feel like, um, you know, all sectors of the VTubing community are just as valid, and they all deserve support as long as you aren't being toxic, which we see a lot of that on like Twitter.
mm.
um,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah. Um, I think uh, there's a lack of clear support with the LGBT community with VTubing. I feel like if you asked any specific VTuber, they'd be like, "Yeah, we support the LGBT community," but then they like only show up during Pride Month, or it's
Mm,
performative.
yeah.
But a lot of
Mm,
VTubing is performative. I feel like that's an issue that we kind of need to address eventually within the community. Uh, and I will be here whenever people are ready to address that.
mm.
I will just be sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting.
What does being a part of the community mean to you?
um, it means that I can give support and get support. Um, I think that's just the core of it. Um, and I have freedom of expression. Um, to show myself in a way that is me. Like, if I asked myself 10 years ago, do you think you would be a green femboy trans bunny VTuber on the internet? I'd be like, what? What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. um, and I feel like uh, being part of the queer community and learning about, performative art. 'Cause I was a theater kid. Fun fact. Um,
Also a theater kid.
yeah. Uh, so I grew up in the queer community. Whenever I was old enough to, branch out and get out of that sheltered nature that I was brought up in. Um,
Mm,
yeah. I feel like there's a bit of this feels like I'm putting on a show. This feels like I'm performing. Whenever you first come out, and I think that's a good way to like see it.
mm.
Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm a yapper.
No, it's okay. You're good. You're good. Oh gosh, I hear my doggos. They get
That's okay. I
angry.
didn't hear anything.
Okay, good, good.
Oh, I did that time.
How, oh no.
You're good.
How do you plan on celebrating Pride Month?
That's a hard question. So I am celebrating Pride Month this year safely. Um, uh,
I
like
would
I
say I
said,
feel like a lot of people
yeah,
are.
like I said, I am a trans man in the South. Um, and when I first moved down here in 2016, um, I was doing like all the protests and I was doing all the things to change things for the better. And I was very outspoken and just I did a lot of like community work. Um,
Mm.
and now that I am older, I am disabled. I have a heart condition. I have mobility issues. Um, I can't do that anymore. Uh, One of the questions that I saw in your little sheet, I thought about this one a lot, and I'm going to bring it up if that's okay. Um,
It's okay.
yeah. Uh, One of the questions was something along the lines of who is your biggest like hero or inspiration or whatever in the LGBT community. And I think right now my biggest inspirations is the people who are still fighting and who are fighting for us who can't fight, that don't have the power to fight anymore. Um,
Mm.
because just because we're not out there doesn't mean we don't want to be. I would love to. I would love to. But unfortunately, we are living in such a climate where it's not safe for us to, uh,
Mm.
especially as disabled people. We would be an easy target if something bad were to happen, and bad things, unfortunately, do happen. Um, that is
Mm.
just the reality right now. Uh, I have had multiple friends. I'm not gonna get super into it. I have had multiple friends who protested, peacefully protesting, get arrested recently. They were local, so I feel like it is just an act of bravery to continue the fight. And I'm
Mm.
super proud of all of you who are still continuing the fight. I am super proud, and I am happy that you're here. Uh, I just want to tell you to um, give yourself space to process what you're handling right now, because this is the kind of stuff that's going to be in like history books.
Mm.
It's not easy to go through.
Very true. Very true. It's very, very scary times
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
What issues have you seen from other communities that have negatively affected those in the LGBTQIA plus community?
um I feel I'm gonna be very careful how I say this. um uh there are certain people, and I feel like most people would agree with me. Um there are certain people within like the TikTok community and like the short form content community that they don't quite understand what it means to be queer. It's not a performance. It's not. It feels like it's a performance sometimes, but it's not. It's not. It's not for clout. It's not. I'm gonna do this so that I can get more followers. Um, it's something that if you really, really feel, how do I word it? When I came out, there was someone who told me a cis person does not wish that they were the other gender. Not truly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm rambling a little bit, trying to get to the point where I'm going.
Oh, it's okay.
um, like, I feel like there's a point where we see all these people who are really popular and they're not portraying the community how they should be. I'll just put it that way. Um, and then people who don't understand the community see that because they're popular, of course. They're gonna show up first in the news feed. Um, and then the people who are trying to learn about the community, uh, they will, take those as stereotypes. Stereotypes are harmful, more often than not, right? Um,
Mm.
I think more than pointing the finger at people, what we need right now is to educate each other, and be educated. That's you can't just educate, you have to also be willing to be educated. And I
Mm.
don't feel like that's something that a lot of people understand. You are always
Mm.
learning. Um, I actually went to cosmetology school, and that's something that they really instilled in us is if you uh, if you want to grow as a person, you have to constantly be learning from the day you are born to the day you die.
Mm.
I feel like learning about each other and pointing out, hey, so this isn't the most accurate thing to how the community actually is, and educating each other in a productive way. Um,
Mm.
I feel like that's going to be very uh, useful right
Very
now.
useful.
Yeah.
I also see it as a bit difficult because then we get into that gray area of attempting
Right.
to police how people portray themselves,
Right.
whereas
No. It's
it's a
hard.
spectrum.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It really is. Um, we have to be careful. Um, how we handle these kind of things, because the last thing you want is to alienate someone from the community.
Yeah.
Um, you don't want that, but we also don't
Mm.
want misinformation being around. That's how, you
Mm.
know, uh, that's how we end up looking, for lack of a better term, cringe to the uh, cis community. And I don't
Mm.
feel like I will be clear. I don't feel like we need to be anything to them. I really don't. I don't feel like we need to. I don't. I don't
I
feel
feel
like.
like we already think we're cringe.
Yeah, I don't
So,
feel like we need to perform for anyone.
like,
Or
mm.
but I think right now what we really need is to be open and honest with people who are willing to listen, and
Mm.
also be willing to listen and be open and honest with ourselves, um, which is hard. It's hard whenever, especially for people who have been in the community for a very long time. Um, we
Mm.
end up thinking, oh, we know everything about this. That's not true. Nobody knows everything.
Mm. Very true.
Hmm.
Yeah. Just to add on to that,
Yeah,
because
you're good.
yeah, yeah, it just we get into that territory where we start invalidating people's experiences. And I just
Right.
want to clarify and say, like, we don't
No.
mean it like that in that
No.
way.
No.
I never, yeah. There's a
No.
difference between educating someone and
Right.
invalidating
Yeah.
what they've been through.
What
And
I was
we don't want to
saying,
do
I
that.
think words are hard.
It's okay. It's okay.
Words are hard. Give me grace. Um, uh, I I think what I'm saying is, we just need to be open to collaboration
Mm.
on all sides. Um, I feel that way about a lot of things nowadays, not just the queer community. Um, you just get so stuck in our heads, you know?
Mm. I feel like a lot of things would work better if we were more open and understanding and tolerant.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like
Absolutely.
that's like the majority of the issues.
Yeah.
As someone who like,
Right.
especially like, as someone who's worked with kids, kids are just miniature people,
Right.
and you kind of you see the faults of
Yeah.
man. Of if we
Hmm.
just talked to each other,
Right.
this would
Hmm.
all be solved.
I
If we talked to each other with
yeah.
understanding.
I think what I was trying to touch on is I've seen a trend recently of I don't want to be teaching everyone like constantly. I don't want to be teaching constantly. Well,
Mm.
unfortunately, that's kind of a part of life. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate that that's a part of life, but that's, we are constantly teaching, we are constantly learning. That's just how society goes.
Mm.
Or that's
Mm.
how it should go anyway.
Mm. Mm. And I can see the argument of being worn down and exhausted
Right,
from
because I am
the
too.
same point.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think we all are, but
Yeah.
we have to continue. We can't
Mm.
we can't let up. We can't say I'm just tired.
Mm. What type of things can people outside the community do to support those in Pride, during Pride, after Pride?
I am so glad you asked because that is like 90% of what I do. um so I think the best thing for you to do right now, if you are wanting to help your queer friends, or if you're wanting to help your mentally ill friends, or anyone really, or disabled, or dealing with, grief, or whatever, ask them what they want, what they need. Be there for them. And when I say be there for them, I don't mean, on the day of an event and that's it.
Mm.
Um, Being there for someone means uh, putting in maybe a little bit more effort than we're used to. Um, Especially if somebody's going through a crisis. And a lot of us are right now. You never know whose day you could make if you just, make them like some cookies and take them over to their house, right?
Mm.
I can count on all my fingers and all my toes how that would have made my day and my week, my month so much better if somebody had done that for me
Mm.
at any point in my life.
Honestly, just getting pinged once in a while from a good
Right.
friend to be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's play this video game together for like
Right.
an hour."
Being a distraction is so useful. And I wish that we talked about that more. Um we don't we don't need to be constantly processing things. It's okay
Mm.
to take a break from processing, especially right now where we're processing so many things. Um,
No, especially I was talking to a
mhm.
lot of friends during this
Yeah,
Pride month, and
yeah,
a lot of people were like, "I want to do an interview, but honestly, I am so exhausted from the current events and
right,
news and
yeah,
everything that I just want to hide in a hole and not talk to anyone."
right.
And I'm like, "Valid, valid."
That's so valid. Um, I kind of feel the same way. A lot of pride, especially around here, because I live in Walmart country. um, it seems very performative by the big businesses and nothing else. A lot of the
Mm.
queer community down here has basically gone into hiding, and that's totally
Mm.
valid, so valid. I've been basically in hiding since January, um, and I just I wish it wasn't like this. I
Mm.
really do. I think a lot of us do. Um, and I think recognizing that feeling of, I really wish this wasn't like this. I wish there was something I could do. And recognizing you're not alone in thinking that, that's helpful. I think a lot of what not only people can do for you, but what you can do for yourself right now. Because a lot of what we need to be doing is self work, shadow work. Um, I think we need to be telling ourselves it's okay to be feeling these emotions, and we're not alone in feeling these emotions. Um, and reminding ourselves that it's okay to take a break. Um, the issues will still be there probably whenever you come back from your break. But as long as you do come back, and we do want you back, um, it's, you know, it's okay. You need to give yourself grace. And it's okay to
Very
be
true.
feeling these feelings. Um, Something that I've started ending my streams with is, um, if somebody hasn't told you yet today, I'm happy you're here, and I hope that that touches somebody. You
It
know,
honestly, it does. I remember watching a YouTube video.
you're right.
It was a Dollar Tree haul video because I
Mhm.
love Dollar Tree crafts.
Right.
And at the end, I was having like a really bad day, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, this everything sucks."
Mhm.
And at the end, she was like, "Remember, I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm happy that you're staying here." And I was like, breakdown tears.
Right.
I needed it that day.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of that right now, is not recognizing that we have emotional needs. And we
Mm.
help others before we help ourselves. Um, there is one more thing I'll say about that. You have to help yourself before you can help anybody else. I'm a people pleaser.
Mm.
That is so hard. I struggle with that every single day. I want to be clear. Um, you have to be able to help yourself before you can help others, or it will eat you alive. And especially right now. And
Mm.
you don't want that. If you want to be able to help others, you need to take time for yourself. And
Very
that
true.
and that could be, um, through self-care, or it could be through therapy, or a mixture of things. It could be, you know, if you're an extrovert, first off, uh, I I don't feel like I see very many extroverts anymore. We're all
I
kind of
know what you
like, nope,
mean.
nope, nope.
If you're an extrovert, can you kidnap me, please? I'm
Right.
taking.
um, I feel like if you're like an extrovert or whatever, going out and being with friends, that's self care. Whatever charges your battery, and that is a thing that you have to ask yourself. You can't go to Reddit and find an answer for that. You have to look into yourself and think, what recharges my emotional battery. For me, that's doing things like needle felting, um, and taking time away from the internet, or reading a book. And I don't do that very often. I'll be honest.
Like playing 9 hours of Baldur's Gate 3 because
Right. Well, for some
that's
people that
my
is,
self care.
yeah, for some people that is self-care, and that's totally valid. Self-care comes in so many different flavors. What matters is that it recharges you.
I just keep thinking giving Astarian smooches is my self care.
Right. Oh, Asterion.
I love him.
I have voice clips of him on my redeems.
Me too. Oh my god. Same brain, same brain.
Yeah, same brain cell. I think all bunnies share the same brain cell.
Very true. Very true. Mom, it's my turn with the brain cell.
Mom said we can share the brain cell. uh,
our next question is: do
Mm-hmm.
you have any role models? I know you answered earlier that one of your role models are the people who are out there protesting
Mm-hmm. Right.
for our rights and protecting
Yeah.
our rights. But any others come to mind?
Not really. Um, I don't really connect myself to um like the queer Hollywood community or anything like that. I really connect myself to the grassroots people who are making things happen. I think that that's brave.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't feel like I have any one idol. I feel like it's the movement of people that are trying to make things better, make things safe, especially for queer kids. I feel like queer kids are being attacked more than anyone right now. Um,
Hmm.
uh, every day I'm seeing new legislation that is trying to be passed that would, put queer kids at risk. And it just makes me so sad. Um, and I don't want to say that there's not very much that I can do about it. Um, but there's nothing that I can do about it alone, right?
Hmm.
Um, doing things like this, being outspoken on um uh, podcasts and uh, going to marches and going to protests and protesting safely. I think that that's uh, what we need right now
Hmm.
more than idols. Um, which is hilarious to say because I'm a VTuber and by definition I am kind of an idol. um,
Hmm.
but yeah, one of the saddest things I had to do was because of legislation in my state, I had to block off the um, community of people who are under 18 solely
Hmm.
because it would put me in danger if I didn't. And that's sad. That's so sad, especially because
Hmm.
we talked about me being a mentor. Um, So I think we just need to really show support to people in a safe way. Um, I want to be clear that we need to be safe right now. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
It's just as someone who's been doing the Pride interviews this year,
Mhm.
compared to last year's, I
Oh, I
feel
can
like
imagine.
the atmosphere is
Yeah.
so much heavier this year than
Oh
it was
yeah.
last year.
Um.
It's yeah.
So I'm gonna segue from that into something that I noticed. This is something that I noticed the past few years is that Pride felt more like a party and not a protest. But now we're back
Mm,
to it being a protest, like it always should have been, in my
exactly.
opinion,
Mm,
because we're constantly working. But this year it just feels like we have instead of taking 2 steps back like every other year, we have taken 10,000 steps back, right?
mm,
Um.
very much so.
Mhm.
The changes were very noticeable. It's
Yeah.
like it
I'm.
honestly it
Yeah.
feels like a whole new atmosphere.
Uh huh. I'm very concerned. Next week is Pride for my city, like it is for a lot of cities around the country. Um, and I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of
Mm,
fear of the unknown within the community. We have to, stick by each other and give each other that support, like we were talking about. Uh, the asking, "What can I do for you right now? What do you need from me right now?"
mm. Yeah, a lot of from what I've been hearing from a lot of my friends who are part of the community, part of the space,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are drained mentally from the news cycle, all of the
Mm-hmm.
new legislation that's trying to be
Right.
pushed in. The people on Twitter who are just having crash outs about people in the trans community, and it's just like,
Right.
I feel like last year when we were talking about trans rights, it felt more hopeful,
Yeah, it did.
and this year it feels more like
Hmm.
scary.
I'm gonna say something to anyone who may be listening and thinking, "Oh, is it really that bad right now?" Um, this is just a little insight into my life. I had my name changed formally 2 years ago, well before any of this started. Um, I was apparently put on a list. I didn't know. Whenever I had changed my name, um, and they had marked me down as changing my name for gender affirmation. They kept record of that. And the second, like, February hit, I got a letter in the mail addressing me as my dead name. And that wouldn't usually bother me, except for the fact that it was from our county telling me that I could no longer vote. I do not have voting rights right now.
Oh
That
my
is,
gosh,
yeah, that is,
that's terrifying.
yeah. So there are sectors of the government because what a lot of people don't understand is that the government is not an entity. It is sectors, right? There are certain
Mm.
sectors where I am still Felix. There are sectors where I am my dead name. Um, and it's kind of hit or miss whether or not I can get certain things done. Like, even with SSI or with disability, because I'm trying to apply for disability, which I should have done years ago. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm stubborn. um,
Mm.
I feel like a lot of people feel that way. But anyways, it affects everything. Your name is who you are. It's on your ID, and in the current climate that we're in, um, if you do not fit what is on your verification information, that kind of stuff, it can be dangerous. And that's why I've kind of been reclusive.
Mm.
Being a VTuber has really helped me still talk to people, even though I am inside very terrified. I'm constantly terrified.
Mm. Yeah, same here. My
Hmm.
friends have been telling me I need, if
Yeah,
I'm to leave the house, I
right,
need get my driver's license because I only have a state ID, and
right.
apparently they were doing raids on houses, and the police did not believe people who had state IDs because they thought state IDs were fake.
Oh
Like
my
it's like state
god.
IDs don't exist.
Oh,
Well, now I'm sitting here like, well, now I have to go out, and because like
yeah.
I have really like traumatizing experiences with driving in cars,
So
so
I do too.
I like
I don't have a
I'm
driver's
scared.
license. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm scared to drive, but now I
Hmm.
have to learn to drive so I can get my license, so that if something
Right.
happens, I at least have both of them,
Hmm.
so I can show that I live here, and it's
Hmm.
just
Right.
it's stressful.
Um, on that topic, my state was one of the first ones to start doing ice raids, and it's just awful, awful,
Yeah.
horrible.
Hmm.
Um, Nobody deserves to be treated like this,
Hmm. Very true.
and
It's been
I don't care about land borders. Nobody deserves to be treated like this.
mm, it's been terrifying,
Oh
especially as
yeah.
someone who's from a mixed race family,
Oh, I can
where
imagine.
half of
Yeah.
my family is Mexican American. My grandma came over here when
Mhm.
she was young,
Right.
so it's a lot of fear of the family members who don't pass as
Right.
like
Yeah.
white, basically. So it's just like, oh gosh, I hope nothing bad happens.
Mhm.
I at least don't like. At least my dad has a driver's license,
Yeah.
so I can't do anything to him. But yeah,
Right.
it's very scary, especially having friends too who are like they're
Mhm.
terrified to leave their homes in case something happens because they have family here
Mhm.
that are in the process of getting their paperwork done, but they're just
Yeah.
getting rid of everyone basically.
I'm gonna say one thing real quick.
Hmm.
I, as a VTuber, I am not political. I don't do political stuff ever. It is a boundary that I have. But I'm going to be political for this one stream. And if you are uncomfortable with that, you do not have to watch. I appreciate you. You can lurk. You can mute me. I appreciate you. Please take, some time for your mental health. You don't have to you don't have to listen. It's okay. I still love you anyway. My channel is a safe space for people, and I take that very seriously.
Hmm. But yeah, I just I guess my brain I just I guess it's seen as political. My brain is
Yeah.
just like we're people. We shouldn't be
Right.
treated like this.
Yeah. I think we need to talk about this kind of stuff. But I understand that some people, it's just not something that they want to listen to right now. And it's just a fact. It's not valid or invalid. It just is. And
Mm.
I think that because there's that gray area, and I want to make a space where people feel safe, I have to acknowledge that gray area. That
Mm.
gray area, being in that gray area does not make me love you any less.
I think you cut out there. I didn't hear.
Oh, sorry. Being in
No,
that
it's okay.
being in that gray area doesn't make me love you any less.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Our last question is, do you have any other moments that you want to talk about, or do you have any questions you'd like to pose?
I think the question that I would, pose the community is, what do you want our first step to be? Because we have to take this step by step. Um what where do we go from here? What do we tackle first? Um if we try and tackle everything all at once, which is what we've been trying to do for the last 6 months,
Mm.
it's unfortunately not going to get us anywhere. We have to focus our efforts, right? Um, where do you think that we should start? Do you think we should start with, supporting our local communities? Do you think that we should start with writing letters to senators? Do you think that we should start with, um, global outreach? There's so many ways that this can be tackled. Um, and just this is just me. Um, as somebody who was protesting almost every weekend when they were younger for something, um, I have a funny story. I was protesting a certain um, mega chain of stores, Walmart, and the way they treat their employees. And I was protesting alongside Bernie Sanders, and that was really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was one of the cool moments. There were a lot of uncool moments too. And I think we have
Mm.
to understand that there's gonna be a lot of uncool moments. uh, there's a story that I like to tell about my first Pride parade that I was in. Um, Westboro Baptist Church was there, and if you're in the U.S.,
Oh
you probably know who they are.
yeah.
You've heard. Um,
Yikes.
yeah. and they were protesting. They were peaceful for the most part. They were just yelling and angry as they do. Um, and as I marched past, I yelled at them, even though it was storming and raining and probably like close to a tornado. I yelled at
Oh
them.
no.
I yelled at them. It's okay. I love you anyway. I think we need to. This is gonna make me sound like I grew up in the 70s. I didn't. I'm a 90s kid. But we need to conquer a little bit of this with, love. We do. Um, Loving your enemy, tolerating your enemy is um the first step towards making them uncomfortable. Um, and their uncomfortableness is what uh creates a space where they can be more receptive to learning. Make them uncomfortable, but make them uncomfortable by showing them love and compassion.
Very, very interesting viewpoint. I don't think I've heard that one before, really.
it's
Yeah,
it's
I feel like
it's
there's,
something
yeah, there's,
it's something that
it's
I
hard.
wish that people would adopt more.
Hmm.
Just because there's a lot of people who are fighting this with violence. There's violence on both sides. And I think that it's, valid to be fighting with violence at this point. But um there's the old adage of you catch more flies with honey.
Hmm.
And I think if we're gonna really change people's minds, we need to sit and listen and have actual discussions and be compassionate and um, even if that person is wrong, even if that person is so wrong, you need to sit and listen. That doesn't mean you need to agree with them. By all means, don't. um, it just means that you know listen. We need to do more listening, and I think that
Hmm.
we'll understand each other a lot more if we do.
I feel like a lot of, I remember hearing this old quote about how hate works in communities,
Mm-hmm.
how like 90% of the time it's just fear
Right.
turned into anger.
I mean, it is. Um, a lot of the angry people that you see in the news, what are they what are they angry about? Well, they're angry about things that they don't understand. Like for instance, in Texas, there's the lawmakers that they don't understand that there is not a pandemic of furries in schools.
Oh my god.
That's the thing that that's just a belief that is rooted in fear because they don't understand. They haven't taken the time to learn. Um, and I'm going to be honest, there's going to be a lot of people who don't learn. And, it's okay to say, all right, you're not going to listen to me. I'm done with this conversation.
Mm.
It's totally valid to be like that. Um, Especially right now. But we need to be not really targeting, but like um talking to the people who are more receptive to learning and growth.
Mm.
And it's pretty
I see
obvious.
that.
It's pretty obvious whenever you're looking at, a community who is receptive to growth.
Mm. They say, Skeletor says it's also important to know when someone is a lost cause. Very
Mhm.
true.
Mhm.
And they mention that their parents refuse to ever learn
Mhm.
if it is from modern science or a person they view as on the left.
Right. Yeah,
Really,
no,
that
it's
struggle.
it's very um it's very important to hold. We were talking about the, um self-care for yourself, right? That's part of
Mm,
self-care for yourself, is recognizing this conversation's not getting me anywhere. It is not serving me. It is not serving my community. Um and what I am saying is not going to change anybody's mind. It is not going to um educate anyone. It is falling on deaf ears. Um
mm,
and that is, I think, especially with the more outspoken people in the queer community, because we have a lot of them.
mm,
um I think that there is a line that you have to make. There's a boundary that you have to make with yourself. This is as far as I am willing to go with a conversation, right? And that is to
mm.
protect yourself. You need to protect yourself nowadays. I feel like we should have been doing that before now, but we're here now, so.
Mm. Here, let me see. Any other questions that we have? Any other topics we want to chat on?
uh,
Um, One of the questions that we posed earlier
mm-hmm.
was some issues we've seen that have negatively affected the community, and I feel like the
Right.
biggest issue right now that at least that I've seen on
Yeah.
social media
Right.
is the like villain villainification of like trans people just everywhere out
Yeah.
in the
No,
open.
it's totally a thing. I hear almost every day a comment about how being a trans man means that I am not a feminist, right?
Mm,
And I feel like that's such a firmly held belief by people that don't agree with us. Um, because, the people who are trying to be heard, they like to use buzzwords. Um, they like to use buzzwords like feminist and will never be, and just um, and you know what I'm saying?
mm.
Yeah. Sorry, my
I
train
think
of
it's
thought left. It left the
no,
station and
it's
it's not
okay.
coming back.
Oh, Skeletor says, yeah, I don't even try with them anymore. I'm hoping
Right.
to live long enough to get out of there, come
Yeah.
out, and then remove my parents from my life. I know a lot of people, for their own
Hmm.
health and for their own safety,
Yeah.
will wait to come out until they're in a stable environment
Yeah.
away from parents, especially. And
Um.
it
Yeah.
it's not your job to like
Right.
always be there for your parents. You can,
Yeah.
if you need to, for your health, like distance yourself from them. And like
Yeah.
I've like recently I've seen a lot of people doing the no contact with parents.
Hmm.
And it's hard and it's sad, but if for your own
Yeah.
health you have to, and that is your only option, or even if that's the option that makes the most sense for
Hmm.
you,
I
it's all right to do that.
I had to do not no contact before it was trendy. I wish it wasn't trendy. I want better
Mm,
for y'all. But uh, something I will say is, even if you go to no contact with somebody, there is the off chance, and it's a chance, this isn't going to happen with everyone, especially in situations like this. Um, there is the off chance that they could come around eventually. It took like almost 12 years for mine to, but yeah. I
mm,
talked to my parents again. Um, I am trying to foster a relationship with um my family again. And that's not going to happen to everyone, especially with issues like this. Um, and you do have to put into, thought, even if you did rebuild, is this in my best interest? Is this
mm,
serving me? Um, and for me, the answer is yeah, it is. Um, it's no contact doesn't have to be forever. It can be.
Mm.
It can be, and in a lot of cases it is. Um, but you can, if it makes things easier on you, you can hold that little bit of hope that maybe one day people will
Mm.
see things your way and will be receptive to learning.
Mm. And like even then, I feel like if you go no contact and they
Mm-hmm.
never try to reach out with understanding,
Right?
then they're not worth your time anymore. They're
Yeah.
not worth your energy.
Exactly. No. Um. There's that. There's that old adage that blood is thicker than water, but I don't believe that. I believe that chosen family is a lot more special. I do. Um, I'm at the age where I'm, wanting to know about my genealogical history. Um, but that doesn't mean that I want to have contact with some of these people. They don't serve me.
Mm.
That that's and that's it. They don't serve me. Um, but the people in my family that do, uh, and they do hold a positive light in my life. I think that I do want to try. Um,
Mm.
I think I I want to say I hope that every person who has to go no contact, I pray that they um eventually get heard, that they can heal.
Mm.
I want that for them. For every person who has to go no contact, I want you to heal. I want you to be able to um have what your soul is wanting, right?
Mm.
Um but sometimes that's just not a thing that can happen. But it could.
Mm.
You just have to be open and uh in touch with yourself about it.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been sad seeing the epidemic of no people going no contact, but at the same
Right.
time, it's like it's liberating to know that these
Mm-hmm.
people know their boundaries
Right.
and they know when they've been crossed and
Mm-hmm.
they're standing up for themselves, which is very hard for
Right.
like
Yeah.
I've seen family who has been like constantly beaten down and they still like try their best because they don't want to go the no contact even if it
Yeah.
would be better for them in the
Mm-hmm.
long run, at least like mentally. But they just they're I guess it's like the fear of being alone and not having that
Mm-hmm.
familial connection. But it's
Right.
like at what point, how much can you endure? It makes me sad to see that.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of feeling of shame and guilt with it too. Like, was I not good
Mm.
enough? That kind of thing. Um, and that's I always tell people I feel like every single person, as long as you have a problem in life, which is every single person has a problem in life, you need to go to therapy. Every single person needs to be going to therapy right now. None of us are perfect. We need to be doing shadow work.
Mm.
And I feel like, going to therapy and doing that shadow work will get you the results that you're wanting, you know?
Ooh, I
And
like what Skeletor says. Family is shared familial love. Family's not always blood. It has
right.
always been love.
Yes.
Very yes. I think like one of the most like I know it's cheesy, but I'm a theater kid.
Yeah.
When I want to say it was like 2015, 2016, it was Tony Awards,
Mhm.
and Lin Manuel Miranda had this very powerful like little speech he had when they won a Tony for Hamilton, and I
Mhm.
remember he ended it off with love is love is love is love.
Right.
And it was just, oh, my
Yeah.
heart. I was like,
Mhm.
yes, finally.
You're right.
Like,
Cuz
it was nice seeing someone acknowledge that.
yeah. Um I think that there are so many um like just subsects of how you can love something. You can love someone, you can love a family member or a partner or a friend. And by the way, if you're not telling your friends I love you, we are in some times where you should be telling your friends you love them.
That's the thing. It's like I have
Yeah,
some friends who I will be
yeah,
like, "I love you," and they'll send it back, and I'm super happy. And there are other
right.
friends
It
where I'm
makes your
like,
day,
"If
right?
I send if
Yeah.
I send that to you, will you think I'm weird? I don't know."
I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's weird at all. um, I think that um, telling your friends, telling your community, um, I'm here for you and I love you. Uh, that is like one of the best things you can do. That is best one of the best ways you can support right now. So there are
Hmm.
so many people out there who are feeling unloved.
Very true. I feel like that's always been a struggle for a lot of people. Is
Oh
like
yeah.
showing, especially with friends,
Mm-hmm.
showing affection to friends.
Right.
It's always like, "I'm here for you." It's
Right.
never, "I love you."
You're right.
Or like I understand what they mean, and I understand they care and
Yeah.
that there is love in that relationship. It's just, I guess love is a scary word to some people. Like
It is,
it's
especially when you
it's
haven't
so
heard it.
strong of an
Yeah.
emotion.
Especially when you haven't heard it as a kid, right? Um,
Mm.
because a lot of people, that's a generational trauma thing. Um, that you didn't hear I love you, and um that's something that as millennials and whatever is after millennials, I don't keep track. We
I
need to
also do not
we
keep
need
track.
we need to end that. We need to do better. We need to start telling people that they are loved and that they are appreciated. Um,
Mm.
and I feel like if we start doing that, then the awkwardness will start going away. It'll be a lot less gross feeling, right?
Mm. I don't know what it is. Like, I can
Hmm.
say it to some friends
Yeah.
because they say it back, so I'm more comfy.
Yeah.
And then there are friends who I've never said it to, and I'm like, but I love you, right? I'm scared
Yeah.
to say it out loud because I'm like,
Right.
what if you think I'm strange? Or if it's too much? That's
Hmm.
why, like, whenever a family leaves the house, it's always love you, bye. Or if
Yeah.
it's like family that I'm not super close to, but I still care about, it's always be careful or be safe, goodbye.
Yeah.
I feel
Text me
like
when you get home.
I've steadily turned that into like my I
Right.
love you for the friends who I'm too scared to say it
Yeah.
to.
And
It's
I
just
think
a
that's
be
valid.
safe.
I think that's valid. That's you saying I love you in your own terms and on their terms. That's still beautiful, I think. And I think that's still a good way of supporting people. Um
Hmm.
we need to, you know, try and make it uh less of an uncommon thing, I think, and then people will start coming around to it. I really do.
Aw, Skeletor, that makes me sad that you feel that way.
What's
Well,
up?
just know. Oh, I'm reading chat.
Oh, okay.
Skeletor says, I love you has been ruined as a phrase for me because I've only heard my blood related family say that to me, and I know they would never love me, only the shell I put out there. Youngest cisgender son that totally does not resent them.
Oh my god, I feel that so much. uh, that's something that I grappled with uh when I was younger and starting to rebel and find myself. Because when you're sheltered, you do end up eventually rebelling and finding your own way. Um, I I love you had always had this connotation of I love you, but with an asterisk, and then it's like fine print at the bottom of the receipt. You know.
Mm.
Um, I love you with conditions. That's a very common thing, unfortunately.
Mm.
Especially with generational trauma. Uh,
And
that's
it's so like it's so strange too,
yeah,
because like when I think of love, it's loving someone without conditions at all, like no matter what.
right,
So to have love with conditions feels
right.
like ironic, I guess, in a way,
Uh,
or what's the word I'm looking
yeah.
for?
If you ever want to have me on again for like mental health talk, I I can tell you all about that. Cuz I grew up with a narcissist that didn't understand that she was a narcissist, and I don't think she ever will.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
So I understand where what they're saying. 100%. I understand.
Hmm.
um I love you with conditions. Um kind of feels like tiptoeing a line. You want
Hmm.
that support from your family. I feel like everyone does. Um, even if you don't realize it, you probably do deep down. That's what makes us human. We want to be accepted. Um, and uh, there's a lot of things that I probably did as a kid, um, or even as a young adult that you know, I tried to get that conditional love, not just with my family, but with relationships, because it bleeds into other factors of your life too, right? If you don't,
Hmm.
my this is actually really topical. My therapist and I talked about this today. um, if you don't fix that generational trauma, and figure out why you feel the way you do, then it's going to bleed out into other relationships in your life, right? You're going to start seeing it everywhere. Um, and you're going to start seeing a pattern, and then that pattern is going to get into the logic part of your brain, and it's going to start cementing, oh, this must be true because I've seen it so many times, right? Um, that's CPTSD. um, and uh, yeah, I feel like if we start loving people without conditions, and that doesn't mean loving people no matter what they do, uh, because there are still situations, there's a lot of situations where you could say, hey, I know I told you I love you, but I don't feel like I can love someone who does XYZ, right? There are
Hmm.
bad things
Yeah.
in life, and that's okay. You don't have to. That doesn't mean that you love them conditionally. That means that you are putting out a boundary. That's different.
Hmm.
I think that's something that we need to get across with ourselves first before we can start working on that. Um,
Hmm.
I think this is something that I have thought for a while is the new generations, they are going to be some of the most emotionally intelligent people. Um,
Hmm.
I've seen, you know, these kids put up boundaries that I couldn't dream of putting up as an adult, right?
Hmm.
Having bodily autonomy,
Exactly. It's
having,
it.
yeah,
I'm proud of. I'm so proud of the younger generation and
right, me
how
too.
they know their boundaries. They know
Yeah,
their limits.
right. And being able to speak up for themselves. Like, if I had spoke up for myself as a kid, oh my god, no, never. Right?
Hmm.
um, and I think that we see a lot of media nowadays of um oh, the next generation is going to be awful. Look at all these iPad kids. Like, yeah, there's bad sections of a lot of um uh generations. Like, there's
Mm.
bad sections of our generations, right? Um
Mm.
but I think from what I've seen is that we're going to be okay. I think as a society we're going to be okay. As long as we get through
Mm.
this, we'll be fine. And we'll
We just
grow.
have to make
Yeah.
it. We have to make it better for them.
Right,
But that's like
exactly.
the whole goal.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like a lot of people forget is
Mhm.
like we shouldn't be like how, like you know how some people were like back in my day we did this, it was harder for
Right.
me, and it's like yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to be harder for the people after me. It should be easier for them. Like
Right.
that's the whole point. We're supposed to be getting better as people.
Right. Um I think it's okay to be feeling those feelings of jealousy, because that's what it is. That's jealousy. Um that, people aren't suffering the way you did. Um I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's okay to recognize that, hey, I'm jealous about this. I'm having all of these big feelings. Um that's another thing. That's another thing that I've learned since the new generations have been brought up is the quote big feelings. Um, I and that's a good way of describing, whenever you're having like a panic attack or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm just having big feelings, and that's a good way of validating it to yourself. But I'm rambling. Anyways, um, I think that we're gonna be okay. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a really bad period of society. I do. Um, globally, I, I, I don't think that this is. I don't think that this is just a
Mm-hmm.
U.S. thing. It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of like the epicenter of it, but it's. Um, I think we're gonna be okay. I really do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I'm gonna hold out hope that we're gonna be okay.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I have faith in the younger generations. They
Right.
seem very strong.
Yeah.
I feel like they know their boundaries. They
Mhm.
take stances.
Right.
It's
I feel
it's like
bad that we're having them inherit a sinking ship, though. I really do.
yeah, that's one thing where it feels like we tried, we
Mhm.
thought we were doing good,
Yeah.
and then it sunk, and now
Right.
they're gonna have to pick up all of our slack basically.
They're gonna have to pick up all the pieces and put them back together. Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think that's fair to them. I really don't. But
Hmm.
it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. Um, we can help them. We can give them support. Um, I'm so excited for the newer generations to uh get into like the government and stuff, right? And see
Hmm.
what they can
Every
do.
time I see a young person getting
Yeah.
into government, they're so passionate, and I'm like, why can't we just have you?
There's so
Why
many.
aren't you old enough to run?
I've been going to the library a lot recently. That's one of my safe spaces. And
Hmm.
uh there's always these like little community bulletins on like a little bulletin board that say, "Oh, we are two teenagers and we are, you know, fighting against the current political climate and we want you to help us," and all this stuff. And I'm just like, "Oh my god, you remind me of
That's so cool.
me 20 years ago." Well, not
I
20
know.
years ago, maybe like
I
15,
see
but
things
still.
in the news, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like we need if we had like four Greta Thunbergs in Congress, I feel
Right.
like we would be okay.
Right.
We would get things done,
Right.
actually.
Uh, but if you want to, help out, um, be outspoken, uh, talk your mind, educate people, um,
Mhm.
especially people in power right now. Because if they are willing to listen to you, you need to take that and you need to take
Yes,
advantage of
take
that.
action. Yes, do that. Do
Yeah.
something.
Um uh
I think community outreach is also very
yeah,
important,
right.
especially.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the biggest struggles I noticed for like the local community, because I worked with elementary and middle school kids
Mhm.
when I was a teacher, and we had a lot of issues with people who were with kids who were identifying as part of the community,
Right.
just not feeling safe, even
Yeah.
around other teachers,
Right.
which is like wild. Like
Yeah.
we're supposed to educate and be there for our kids,
Mhm.
and but then
Right.
they're being put down by them, and it's just it's like
Yeah.
you're not handling their mental health safely by
Right.
doing that. We
On
had
what
like an actual crisis at my
yeah.
school from it. It was
Yeah.
it was horrible.
On one hand, those teachers are still human and they can learn and grow, but when they're put into a
Mm.
position of power over a room full of children, some of them do get an ego. I was in school. I know.
Mm.
It's I think it's just one of those things that we just need to be holding people accountable and being like, "Hey, so that's problematic."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was frustrating. Like
Yeah.
a kid comes to you because you're their favorite teacher and they feel comfortable and safe with you,
Yeah.
and then you invalidate their experience and
Right.
what they feel, and then they're
Mhm.
scared to ever talk about it ever again.
Mhm.
And it was like our counselor was doing that to kids, and
Right.
I'm like, oh gosh, it was a mess. It just uh, the environment was very
Right.
toxic for the kids
I
in the community.
it was kind of like that whenever I was in school too. Our guidance counselor, who then ended up becoming the principal.
Oh yikes.
I was a troubled teenager. Okay, I was dealing with a lot.
Hmm.
I was goth and in a little redneck town in backwoods Ohio. Um, and my guidance counselor, when I was coming to her with all of these feelings of what was definitely mental illness and depression and anxiety and all of these things, and probably neurodivergence that still is not diagnosed.
Hmm.
Um, she told me, and I quote, "Oh, you're just emo. That's a new thing that's out right now. That you're just emo. That's all."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wish I was joking.
Wild. Oh my
Right.
gosh. I mean, I'm not surprised because
Yeah.
I was kind of like the teacher who did outreach for a lot of the kids because
Mhm.
I freaking I loved all my students. They were all very sweet and very kind. I was sad when I eventually had to leave. The workplace just got too toxic.
Right.
Um, but they were just my heart.
You're right.
they they like a lot of them were just struggling with things that they didn't know or like
Yeah.
understand, and they just needed someone there to talk to and help them through.
Mhm.
So it was sad seeing teachers
Yeah.
like I had a student come to me and be like, yeah, I went to the counselor about how I just get really scared when I talk to anyone because they were this was after COVID, and I feel like a
Right.
lot of kids struggled with anxiety coming back to
Mhm.
school.
Yeah.
And they were talking to me and they're like, yeah. And then the counselor just said, you know what? You just might be like a problem child. That just might be something
Oh
you have
my
to deal
god,
with.
you don't say that to someone.
And I'm like, this is
Oh.
a third grader. Why are you
Oh my
telling
god,
them
third
that?
grade?
I'm like, no, she's just anxious. Like,
That's the kind of thing that's said to somebody that sits with them forever. And when I say
yes,
forever, I'm talking about
exactly.
forever.
Yeah, like they'll get like a flashback to when they're like
Right.
in their 20s and be like, maybe I was a problem child. And it's like, no, you weren't.
Right.
You were just a little
Yeah.
kid who didn't understand their emotions at the time, and
Right.
you needed someone to be there for you, but
Hmm.
like they failed.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have a hot take real quick. I
Mm.
think that, and we're off track, but I'm gonna say this. I think that the Montessori program needs to be in public schools. Full stop.
I don't think I've heard of that program before.
Montessori is basically teaching like emotional wellness and like not emotional maturity, but like understanding your emotions and like teaching dexterity and like um fine motor skills and like numbers and letters and things in a way that is through play.
Mm.
Um I wanted to be a teacher for a little bit. I wanted to go into early childhood, but then I realized I do not have the patience for kids.
Yeah, kids can be much,
Yeah.
especially at younger ages.
um.
But they're like, oh, they're so smart. Like they're way
Right.
smarter than most people think they are.
Yeah. I agree with you there. Um. I think that if we taught emotional maturity and knowing your emotions, recognizing big emotions, um, and STEM and fine motor skills and figuring out where there is a problem in development really early on.
Mm,
I think that's really useful, and I think that they should have more of that in public schools. I think it's too structured
definitely.
right now. I think it's all
Mm.
tests, even for I remember in the 90s having to do proficiency tests in kindergarten.
Oh my gosh, that's what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. My little sister, she was like 2 or 3 years younger than me. I don't remember. Um
Mm.
she had so much homework in kindergarten that she would have panic attacks.
Mm. I
It
know some kids get
it's just
overwhelmed by all that.
yeah, we need to be teaching through play. I think so.
I think it would be very beneficial, yes,
Yeah.
especially learning emotions. Because, I mean, the kids,
Right.
they feel those emotions, but they
Right.
just don't know what they are. So that's why they come to
Yeah.
an adult to ask about it.
Right.
And then when you when you belittle them
Mhm.
for being anxious and not
Yeah.
understanding like what anxiety is, it's
Mhm.
like you're not helping them, you're hindering
Right.
them. Now they're going to be scared to talk about other big emotions.
Right. And if you don't learn about that stuff really early on, then you end up an adult that doesn't understand, what their emotions are. And then they lash out and they, create trauma for
Mm.
others and it just the process goes on and on and on and on.
Mm. It's, yeah, just need our kids to be
Yeah.
better taken care of, better role models as well, better
Right.
teachers. I feel bad because not every teacher is terrible like that. It's
No,
just,
I had really good teachers. Um
I've had good teachers too. It's just
mhm.
when it comes to emotions or
Yeah.
like things that like teachers don't understand, like being a part of the
Mhm.
LGBTQ community. Like, I
Mhm.
don't understand how teachers are like, you don't know that because you're not an adult and you only find that out when you're an adult. And it's like,
No,
no.
this is totally not a thing.
Yeah.
No. Um I will end this tangent with not all teachers are bad. I think that the some of the teachers are a product of their environment because it's a very bad environment to be a
Definitely.
teacher. Um
Mm.
uh one of my favorite teachers, he was my grandpa's best friend. My grandpa was also a teacher and then he graduated. He retired. um
Mm.
and that teacher um protected me from bullying so many times. Um and when my friend, I'm not going to get into it. When my friend had to move away because of issues in her family that made her living situation unsafe, he sat down and literally talked to me one on one and was like, "What are you feeling right now?" I didn't know anything about what was going on. I wasn't let in
Mm.
on any of it. Um, I just knew that she was gone and I was upset. That's it. Um, but the fact that he took the time out of his day to sit me down and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" That was so emotionally mature.
Mm. I can imagine how like safe you would feel
Hmm.
being sat down and explained to and asked how you're
Right.
feeling.
Yeah. Especially when this is somebody who had protected me in the past before from bullies. I was bullied a
Mm.
lot as a kid. I'm 4'11" now. I was shorter then. uh anyways, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Um, no, I don't think so. Just oh, I guess we can mention
Hmm.
we are doing a fundraiser for Points of Pride, which is a really awesome nonprofit that provides gender affirming care and treatment as well as gender affirmation surgery financial aid, I think it was called. I have to double check the little thing.
Right.
But they do a lot of awesome stuff like
Hmm.
offering money for HRT treatments,
Right.
getting femme shapewear and binders for the trans community if they need them.
That is
They
so
give to
important.
both. Yes, they're very awesome.
Yeah.
They give to both um, young people in the trans community and
Hmm.
adults, so definitely
Yeah.
check them out. Um, we have a little fundraiser. Our goal is to hit
Yeah.
100. It's fine if we don't. It's just a small little thing. I think Points of Pride is really cool.
Hmm.
If you don't want to support them through us, you can check out their websites.
Yeah.
If you need gender affirming care, I would definitely go with them because they
Right.
seem really awesome. Like they really care for the community. I think they're really cool. Same with I would recommend checking out the Trevor Project.
Hmm.
They famously have the I believe it's dial 3 for the suicide hotline for people
Hmm.
who are part of the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
I would also urge people to write their congressmen and their senators about keeping that number as it is very important. It's a very
Right.
easily accessible
Yeah.
number for people to dial. I know recently they've been trying to pull the funding for that number,
That life.
and it could lead to a lot of damage.
Yeah. I want to say that that hotline has saved my life. It has saved the lives of multiple people I know. It is so important.
Mm. It's very, I know a lot of people are like, oh, but they won't lose the hotline completely. It'll just be a longer number. It's like when you're in that headspace
You
and
need
all you have
something
to do is
that's, yeah.
dial 3, it can be like life
Right.
altering. Because like a lot of people aren't going to be able to Google search what number and type out the
Hmm.
whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I urge
Right.
people to talk to their representatives if you
Hmm.
can to keep that number because
Yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah. Because
But other than that,
because trigger warning. You don't know what you're gonna do when you're in an altered state of mind, right? And
very
in a
true.
lot of situations like that, you are in an altered state of mind, whether it was your own doing or if it was your emotions doing it. You know, you
Mm,
need to have an easy number to call. It's so
very true.
important.
So just I would say get out there,
Hmm.
make a difference,
Yeah.
support your friends, your families
Yeah.
who are part of the community, especially during months that aren't Pride. They
Hmm.
need support year round.
Also,
So it's like do
after
what you
this
can.
also after this is over, I'm going to be doing on my channel um free Pride profile pictures for VTubers. Um,
Oh,
I
that's sweet.
yeah, I'm gonna be talking more about it too. Uh, so yeah,
Let me go ahead and start sharing your socials here. Oop, let me minimize my little.
I
There
appreciate
we go.
that.
Haha.
So about me, I stream about 5 to 7 days a week. I do MMO, cozy games, and like TCG content, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. Uh,
Very cool. We're just gonna go through and open most of your links. So if you
it's
want to
okay.
chat more about yourself, you can.
Yeah. Right now, I'm prepping for Art Fight. Art Fight is incoming.
Ooh, I'm so excited for Art Fight.
You should follow me on Art
I will.
Fight.
I won't click on the Discord server one just because it will pop up my Discord and make it all funky right now.
That's
But they
fair.
have a Discord server.
Yeah, I do have a Discord server. Um, if whenever you raid into me, I have a prompt that brings up my Discord, so I'll just do that.
Then we have their Twitch over here.
Yeah.
I will follow on my account. I think we're following you on the Bunopolis one. I have to double check. Oh, you know what I could totally do? / shout out. That's a thing that I
Yeah.
can do. I forget that that's like a command built into Twitch. There
Yeah. It's a thing with Moobot too. Thank you guys for the follows. I appreciate you. Um, my community is a safe space, so if you ever need someone to, you know, talk to, I'm always here. I'm chronically online. Hello. Don't feel like you need to go through any of this alone. I would much rather you break down my doors in DMs to talk to somebody than go suffer through it alone. What else?
Any upcoming events for you that you're doing? I know you said Art Fight, but anything else?
I'm currently doing a donathon, but I'm going to talk about that in my own stream. I don't want to do it in the Bunopolis stream because you guys are doing your own fundraiser, and that I don't want to take from that. So, there's a time and place for everything. I'm planning on coming back to y'all for Disability Pride month as well. I'm working on a POTS diagnosis and Ehlers-Danlos and just a bunch of things. I already have an MCAS diagnosis and mobility issues and all of the things. Once you get past 30, it feels like you don't have just one, you get all of them.
Your body just falls apart.
Right. That was kind of also my fault though. Some of my mobility issues are because I was in a workplace accident. I did not take proper care of my back when lifting things, and that is so important. It's one of the things that I tell people as many times as I can. You only get one back. It doesn't heal itself.
Very true. I'm very thankful when my dad had really bad back problems where it was like his pain was so severe that he had to get surgery for it.
Right.
To rant about another thing, the healthcare system in the U.S.
Oh, we'll get into that next time.
I know.
We'll get into that next time. Especially, they're doing Medicaid cuts in my state. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, we will get into that next time.
That's crazy. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start the raid.
Yeah.
Definitely check out Bloom the Bun. All of their socials are listed here. I will be uploading the VOD later on to YouTube, and we'll also add a link to their, I almost said card, Linktree. That's what it is, Linktree.
I'll have a card eventually. It's a work in progress.
but definitely check them out.
Hmm.
I see that you have your Ko-Fi and your VGen, so they have commissions, which is really
Yeah, my commissions
awesome.
are open right now. I'm actually offering gift tubers for the last time. I'm not doing them again after this.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So definitely check them out. Thank you again for doing this interview with me. I
Thank you
had
for
a lot of
having
fun.
me.
Yeah, and I'm excited to interview you again for Disability Pride.
Hmm.
That'll be all July long. We have a couple more Pride interviews scheduled for this month. I believe our next one is on Tuesday? Question mark? Have to check my schedule because I bookmarked it. Yes, Tuesday's our next one, and I believe Friday will be our last Pride interview. And then
Hmm.
we jump into Disability Pride for July, which will be
Right.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and we're also streaming the old interviews from last year on the YouTube. But yeah, thank you so much
Nice.
for coming.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you stick around. I'm gonna start doing my own stream. So there's gonna be more content. I'm probably gonna be thank you for the raid.
There we go.
I'm gonna be doing artwork for probably another hour or two. Uh I want to try and get through as many as possible because whenever I put out the Google form for free VTuber profile pictures, I got a lot of
I
requests.
was gonna say, yeah. I did
So
the same thing for overlays,
you're right.
and I got booked up.
I'm unfortunately doing first come first served. I'm not being picky. I'm not picking my favorites. I'm doing first come first served. That's it.
Mm.
I'm gonna try to get through the entire list. But
Mm.
it depends. It has gone into double digits, but barely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got scared when you said double digits. I was like, oh no, way too
Yeah.
many.
um, but I'm not gonna let it overflow into art fight prep. So,
Mm.
I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick break. I'm gonna put you guys on a timer, a 5 minute timer, and then I will be right back. Thank you for joining me, Celeste. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be around for a lot of the like Bunopolis stuff. I really enjoy the community that you guys are growing.
Yes, definitely. We're celebrating our anniversary in August. I think it's our
Ooh,
second, third year. I don't
nice,
know. My brain is really blank.
nice.
But yes, definitely.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe you'll see a certain garden bunny the next time you guys open up applications. No, I'm
I
kidding.
know. Honestly, I feel like we should open apps again because I've gotten a lot of people like
Right.
whisper, hey, hey, check me out, please.
Right. Well, thank you for having me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do a quick break and then I'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, I'm gonna come back early. Let's do this. Oh god, I'm big. Hold on. I can fix this. Need the spout capture. Whee! There we go. I'm gonna be a little bigger than that, actually. There we go. Alright. Thank you guys for joining me for that. That was fun. I don't get political on my channel very often because I like to keep my space safe for everyone. And unfortunately, that sometimes means that I have to, you know, filter what I say. Those of you who know me may have noticed that I have added something new to my overlay. Maybe something to do with my logo? You can barely see it right now. I can get rid of this and you can see it. Yeah. Oh! Really? Let me boost myself up. Hold on. Is that better? Hold on. Let me... That's better? Okay, good. You guys can see there's a new thing with my channel. I kind of teased him yesterday. My channel is becoming now Bloom and Friends. I am a person. Oh, no! I'll talk about it in a second. It's fine. Let me know when you're back. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get some music real quick. Let me find some lo-fi. This one is no copyright, so this should be fine. Ad's over. Cool. I'm trying to get some music for y'all. So you're not just listening to me yap. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the channel is now Bloom and Friends. So I am a person who has DID, and I have alters, just like a lot of other people with DID do. And one of my alters has noticed recently that I'm struggling to be Bloom every single day. And he has offered to take over for me every so often. So I found a little model for him and everything. So yeah, he'll be debuting here in the next few days probably. I'm super excited. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh, right, my Google form. Google Forms. My brain is everywhere right now. Okay, so it's not quite into double digits, but it's close. me grab this. And over here. Right. I've been finding a lot of people with it too recently. I think it's just that it's becoming something that isn't, shamed. And I hope it stays that way. I really do. Because we've come so far. So the first one we're gonna do is Phoenix. Phoenix friend. Ooh, that's too big. Ah! There we go. Yeah, it's nice to see people be themselves, for sure. Actually, I'm gonna do pure black and try and start making the hair. Because, even before, I knew that that's what that was, because I'm very new to that diagnosis, by the way. I've gotten it within, like, the last year. I've had it, like, most of my life. I just didn't know that's what that was. But yeah, his name is James. He is very excited to meet you guys. I'm hoping that with me, and there's a few people actually. This was not completely my idea. There's another VTuber by the name of Aradia, the Weaver. She debuted like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, and she was a big inspiration behind us doing this. You should definitely go look her up. She is just the sweetest bean. She deserves the world. I want to try and schedule a collab between us at some point. When things are less chaotic. Because, I know. It's chaotic to debut. Sorry, I was using wrong pronouns. They go by... They, it, I believe? Yes. That was a lot actually last night. I stayed up way past my bedtime because I was like, I want to find him a VTuber model, and I want to get it all done right now, and you know. Oh, the mania of being nervous about appointments. Yeah. I have what is called somnophobia. I have the fear of sleep because, and specifically because, if I go to sleep and I miss my alarm, well, that means that I miss my appointments. And if I miss my appointments, then that means that I have to pay extra money to, do like no call, no show fees, and it's a whole anxiety spiral. So, yeah, forgetting to sleep is also a thing sometimes. Or I'll sleep too much. It just depends. I'm actually gonna... Yeah, I don't blame you. Mine's been really bad for a few months now. Mostly just because, you know, of what I talked about with, like, if I miss an appointment, then I have to pay extra money, and it's a whole thing. But also just because I genuinely don't feel safe anymore in this climate. I really don't. Yeah, I bet. If you ever want to talk about that, and those feelings, you can always DM me. You don't have to go through that alone. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that alone in the moment. Oh, I was gonna, hold on. If anybody's in chat that still wants to. Discord. That is my personal Discord server. You can find me there. You also have places to post artwork, or request things, or, you know, just talk. And I think in this day and age, it's really important to have places to just talk. I will note that we are a non-political server. So if you have, like, political things that you want to talk about, you can DM me personally, and I will talk to you about those. But, we just want to make it a safe place for everyone, regardless of how they, view things. And some people don't want to deal with it, and that is totally valid. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. It's... I know this isn't what you want to hear, but it does... It will get better. I know it doesn't feel like it will. Because I hate when people say that. I hate when people say, "Oh, it gets better," but it does. It does. One day you will look back and think, "Wow, uh, these issues that I was having, I don't have them anymore. They were big issues, and I was suffering, but um, I'm not suffering anymore. And that's what matters, right?" You will find your people. I guarantee it. That's really good way of that's really good emotional intelligence. Um, you know that that works for you, and that's how you cope with things, and that's totally valid. Whatever works for you, as long as it's not like substance use, that is totally, you know, valid. I think that that's smart. There was a loud noise jump scare. What? Safe spot. What are you talking about? I'll have to look back. I hope there wasn't a loud noise jump scare. I don't want those kind of things on my channel. I don't want to scare people. um, I believe that's called dermatillomania. It's an anxiety thing. I do the same thing, but with the skin on my arm. I was actually picking at it while I was doing that interview. It happens to the best of us. Um, I have to ask though because my community is 18 plus. You are you over 18? You can say whatever. Like I'm not gonna be mad at you either way. Yeah, I understand. Um, Unfortunately, my community, because of certain laws that are being enacted in my state, is as 18 plus. Um, I hate to I hate to say that. I really do. Um, I want it to be inclusive, but unfortunately, that is not safe for me or my followers at this point. Um, I do hope that you get the help that you need, and you know, I hope you find people that you can talk to. I really do. Hi, Stitch! Thank you for the raid! Hi, Raiders! I'm Bloom. I'm a femboy bunny VTuber. We are doing Pride emotes today for VTubers. These are free. It's my way of giving back to the community. We just got done talking about what it's like being a trans man in the South of the U.S. and also about like struggles with the LGBT community right now, and that kind of stuff. There was a whole podcast. It was nice. You should be able to see those up on Bunopolis' channel eventually. Let me actually shout out Bunopolis because they were nice enough to have me on. Shout out Bunopolis. So that is Bunopolis. You should guys, yeah, I can talk. I can words. You guys should give them a follow. They're doing more Pride Month interviews, and then they're doing Disability Pride Month next month, and I'm gonna do more of those too. Now I'm gonna give a shout out. I'm good. I'm gonna give a shout out to Stitches. Stitches. No, not Raid. Oh, I have to wait a minute for another. Okay, I'll do it later. If you guys need to go self-care, no worries. Give me a follow and then catch me another time. How was your stream, Stitch? We're drawing Phoenix right now. What were you playing? I need to get Moobot properly set up to like tell me what people were streaming and stuff, and do like auto shoutouts and things. Wizard 101. Oh, nice! I want to play that with you guys again. It was really fun. We'll have to schedule something. Yeah. I'm free most of next week. I'm just getting like art fight stuff ready and like doing the last little bits of before our fight starts, because God knows I'm not gonna have the stamina for commissions too. Yeah, nice. Maybe we can do a joint stream. Okay, so what flag did Phoenix want? He wanted the Arrow Ace flag. Let me go find that. I hope you're having a good day, everyone. Oh, interesting. So there's two different flags for Arrow Ace. There's like this purple and green one, and then there's an orange and blue one. I'm just gonna use the orange and blue one, because that one looks like it's the one that is shown more often. I'm not shocked. Some of my own pride flags have changed recently. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to... wrong way. Paste. And transform. Bop. Bada bop. Actually, what I could do... I want to see if this works. I had a really interesting day today. I had like a really interesting day at therapy. I had like a little bit of a breakthrough with therapy, which is kind of rare for me, honestly, because I've been in therapy for so long. It was enough of a breakthrough that she wants me to start coming in weekly instead of bi-weekly, so that's a thing. We're gonna start exploring that. Yay, therapy. Okay, so that does 2. I want at least 3. More is probably better. Let's do 6. And then 2. Yeah. I'll erase that little bit down there. It is nice to let out emotions. Especially if you're doing it in a healthy way. to point out that I brought the little pen holder right next to my tablet, and I didn't use it. I put my pen on the desk. Because I'm silly. I'm a silly bean. A goofy goober. So I got a Labubu today. I don't know if you saw Stitch. And I thought it was a Lafufu, which is a fake one. It was not. It was real. It was just priced as a fake one, which is weird. I don't think that the person running the stall knew what she had. I think she was just doing her job. But it's definitely real. It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, I got it home and I opened it up and I was like, hold on. This looks a little bit too real to not be real. And I looked into how to tell a real one from a fake one, and they were like, there's like all these criteria, and my Labubu met all those criteria. I'm so excited. She is so cute. So pure. Send this to Phoenix, and then I'll start the next one. I might do like 2 more. I am getting hungry. There we go. Who is next? Ramen is next. Ramen friend. I'm going to grab that picture and I'm going to put it here. Get rid of those. Put this here. actually almost done with art fight prep, which is great. Like I usually am rushing to finish. So having it done early is a good thing. Let's see. So his hair swoops like this direction, and then it's got like downwards. Hi, Phoenix! You just missed it! I just made yours! I sent it to your Discord. Good! I'm glad. There were two Arrow Ace flags, actually. So I picked the one that would look like it was more common. I think that's a pretty common thing nowadays to have like multiple flags for one thing. I know with uh polyamory it is that way. Oh, I need to hydrate. Okay. Oop. Oh no. Where'd it go? Oh. Why did it do that? That was weird. Oh no! Really? Your hard drive is dead? Like, actually? Oh, okay. Oh, I was like, no! I, I was so worried for you. Right, I would be like, nope, we are making a donathon for you right now. We are fixing this. If you wanted me to, of course. So, Stitch, did you see, uh, Yeah, I bet. You don't have to be here if you don't want to. Like, if it is making you have a bad headspace, then I want you to go rest. I do appreciate your support, but I want you to be in a safe and healthy place. Uh, but did you see my post last night on social media? The model, the new one. It's so I've been dealing with a lot of not wanting to be Bloom every single day. It takes a lot of just emotional toil, I guess. Well, one of my alters came up to me, James. He was like, "Hey, so I can take over for you sometimes if you need a break." And I was like, "I would love a break, please. Give me a break." So he's gonna debut in the next few days. I need to figure out the logistics of doing a voice changer. Because I want him to sound like how he sounds in my head. Yeah, I can't wait for it either. We're both super excited. Let me get rid of this here. It's gonna be so fun. You know, Bloom is male. He is transmasc. But it's gonna be interesting, being someone who is cis male. And sounds, masculine. It's gonna be interesting. Because what you hear with Bloom is my natural voice. This is my neutral speaking tone. I don't use a voice changer or anything. Though I assume eventually I'm gonna get people saying that I should use a voice changer with Bloom, but I don't. I wish I did. I wish my voice didn't sound like this IRL. Yeah. And like, this is my voice after testosterone. Like, it was so high whenever I was pre-transition. Yeah, I had early puberty as well. So I totally feel you on that. Uh, it's like you never got to know what your voice is supposed to sound like, right? That's how I imagine it feels anyway. I'm probably gonna finish this one up and then be done, because we did talk for an hour and a half, and now I've been drawing for like an hour. I'm just very tired today. I didn't sleep well last night at all. I will get as many of these done before the end of Pride Month. There's only 7 that I got before the cutoff, so we shall see. Yeah, that's really hard. My narrator voice sounds neutral. I don't know how best to describe it. It just it doesn't sound like anything. It just sounds like me, I guess. Just kind of is. Which makes sense because I actually kind of lean more towards non-binary than I do masculine or feminine. But I tell people that I'm trans masculine because that's easier than explaining. Which I shouldn't do that. That's not fair to myself. That is not being my authentic self. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, I guess. uh. I am doing 7. There were 7 before the cutoff. If I still have stamina after they're all done, I would be more than happy to make you one, Stitch. But, yeah. I'm just tired. I'll probably be doing more of these maybe tomorrow. What do I have going on tomorrow? I don't remember. I don't even know my own schedule. wanted the actually, let me look at my schedule. I am doing I'm doing commissions tomorrow, so probably not tomorrow. But if I do anything on Sunday that isn't Wizard 101, because I didn't know we were still doing that, I would probably work on these again. Although I might work on these off stream. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of off stream work recently. Hi Nocturne, thank you for the follow. We hit our follower goal, 130. Let's go. Thank you for being the 130th. Yeah, sorry, the head pat redeem doesn't work on this model. It's another one of my models. Yeah. But yeah, welcome. So I'm Bloom. I'm a trans femboy bunny. I'm a cozy MMO streamer, basically, and I do artwork. There's gonna be a lot of artwork for the next little while because I'm doing art fight. Okay, so Ralman wants the ally flag, which is totally valid. Oh, that is a very complex design, actually. See, I'm seeing one thing. That I am 100% sure is not what I was... I'm 100% sure it is not what I need to be using. Yeah! No, I have a bunch of references to catch up on still too. So I have it down as either Art Fight or Wizard 101. I'm willing to collab on either. I'm gonna ask Ramen which flag he wants. I'm gonna save it for now. And yeah. Let me save it. Oh, my stomach just growled. Yeah, I need to go eat. I need to go consume foods. If I can find there it is. Hide emotes. Ramen. And yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. Yeah, I'm gonna probably eat and then crash. I barely slept. I am running on 1 hour of sleep for the last 48 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end stream and card. Thank you for being coffee members, Vene, Phoenix, and Ramen. if you uh if you want to be a coffee member and earn perks, that is the best way to support me right now. We have 4 tiers. Well, the cheapest one is $2 a month. Um, and those you just go directly to me. Um, the second, third, and fourth tiers get you into movie nights with us. Our next movie is, I believe, going to be. I can check. Edward Scissorhands. That's a good one. Yeah. I'll talk to you in a bit, Stitch, about collab on Sunday. Yeah. Let's see who we're gonna raid. Oh my gosh, I have so many tabs open. Oh, I have so many tabs open. Yeah, I'm going to raid Crystal Cheese Cake. Y'all have a good day, and if nobody has told you yet today, I'm happy you're here. I can't wait to see you again.
Exactly. I'm. Oh, Buzzbot. What? Oh my god! Another raid? Oh, that's incredible! Oh, Skeletor the Great. Bumpy, bumpy, bump, bump,